I caught my wife cheating with her boss, the betrayal that shattered my life. I always believed I had a perfect life. My name is Mark, and I was 34 when everything I thought I knew about trust, love, and happiness was ripped away from me in a matter of seconds. I had a beautiful wife, Megan, and together, we had built a life that seemed untouchable. We were that couple everyone looked at and thought, they have it all. We had a comfortable house, 2 kids, Sophie and Jack, and a pretty tight-knit circle of friends and family. My career as a software developer was steady, and Megan worked as a senior HR manager at a mid-sized tech company. Life was good. I couldn't have asked for a better partner. Megan and I had been together for over 10 years, married for 7. We had our disagreements, like any couple, but nothing serious. We communicated, we laughed, and we genuinely enjoyed being around each other. Our love wasn't perfect, but it was real. At least, that's what I thought. But nothing could have prepared me for the nightmare I would face, the truth I would uncover, and the betrayal that would shake me to my core. It all started on a regular Thursday evening. I had just wrapped up a long day at work, and the kids were at their grandparents' house for the night. Megan had been busy with some work projects, so I knew she'd be home late. I decided to treat myself to some takeout and enjoy the quiet evening. The house was empty, and I had a rare chance to unwind. I always leave our laptop open in the living room, mostly for convenience. Megan and I shared it for everything, email, bill payments, and even casual browsing. It was nothing special, just a routine. I never thought much of it, especially since we trusted each other completely. We didn't have passwords on our phones, we didn't hide anything from each other, and we certainly never snooped. That night, though, I happened to walk by the laptop as I was getting a drink, and something caught my eye. The laptop screen was lit up with an open email inbox. I didn't think much of it at first, but the name of the sender stood out. It was Michael, Megan's boss. Michael had been a constant presence in our lives. I had met him multiple times at company parties, and we'd even grabbed beers a few times outside of work. He was the kind of guy you'd want to be friends with, charming, confident, and a good communicator. He and Megan worked closely together, but I never thought twice about it. I trusted Megan, and I had no reason to be suspicious. But as I looked at the inbox, something felt off. The subject line of the email read, "Last night was unforgettable." I froze. I don't know why I clicked it. Maybe I was curious, maybe it was instinct, but I opened the email. It was as if time slowed down as I read those first few lines. The email was from Michael, but it wasn't a professional message. It wasn't about work or upcoming meetings. It was intimate. "I can't stop thinking about you, Megan. I had such a great time last night. I hope we can see each other again soon. The chemistry between us is undeniable. You make me feel alive in a way no one else does." I couldn't breathe. The words on the screen were like a slap to my face. Last night? What the hell was this? I clicked open the rest of the email, and it became even clearer. There was no work-related content here. There was only affection, longing, and words that had no place in my wife's inbox. I scrolled down, my heart pounding. Megan had responded. Her reply was full of equally intimate words. "I feel the same way, Michael. Last night was amazing. You make me feel things I didn't think were possible. I'll be counting down the days until we can be together again." My hands shook. I could barely read the words as they blurred in front of me. Megan, the woman I'd shared my life with, the mother of my children, was having an affair. And it wasn't just with anyone. It was with her boss, someone I knew well, someone I'd trusted. I sat down on the couch, completely numb. My mind was racing, but there was a sharp, cutting clarity to it all. I'd known Michael for years. We had shared drinks, joked around, and had many friendly conversations. And Megan? She was supposed to be my partner, my one and only. How had I not seen the signs? Why had I been so blind? I replayed every conversation, every moment I'd had with her over the past few months. There had been nothing to hint at this. Nothing. Or had I just ignored the small signs? Was this going on right under my nose for longer than I realized? I didn't know what to do. My emotions were all over the place: anger, disbelief, pain. But most of all, I felt like I had been betrayed by the two people I trusted the most in this world. I wanted to scream. I wanted to throw the laptop across the room, but I didn't. Instead, I closed it gently and put it aside. I didn't know if I was ready to confront Megan yet. Part of me wanted to get answers, but another part of me was terrified. What would I say? What would happen next? That night, I barely slept. I couldn't get the words of that email out of my head. I kept wondering how long this had been going on. How many nights had Megan spent with Michael? How many lies had I unknowingly bought into? My stomach churned. The next day, Megan came home late from work again, just like every other night. I couldn't contain the rage anymore. I had to confront her. I had to know the truth. When she walked through the door, I didn't say anything at first. I just looked at her, my expression cold. She noticed immediately. "Mark? What's wrong?" she asked, her voice laced with concern. I walked over to the kitchen counter where I had left the laptop. Without a word, I opened the lid and pulled up the email. I turned the screen toward her. Her face drained of color as she saw what I had discovered. She didn't try to deny it. She didn't make excuses. She simply sat down, her hands shaking. "Megan," I said, my voice barely above a whisper, "what the hell is this?" She closed her eyes, tears beginning to well up in them. "Mark," she said softly, "I'm so sorry." The word sounded hollow, like she was apologizing not for what she had done, but because she had been caught. The weight of the truth hung in the air like a suffocating fog. "How long?" I asked, struggling to keep my voice steady. "How long has this been going on?" "A few months," she whispered, unable to look me in the eye. "It just happened. I never meant for it to get this far." I could feel my heart breaking, piece by piece. The woman I had trusted had betrayed me. The man I thought of as a friend had shattered everything we had built. I was consumed by a feeling of rage so intense I could barely think straight. "I trusted you," I said through gritted teeth. "I trusted both of you. How could you do this to me?" The days that followed were a blur. Megan and I didn't speak much, and when we did, it was mostly about logistics. I couldn't bring myself to look at her. I couldn't look at Michael, either. I found out that he was still working at the company, and I decided I wasn't going to let him get away with this either. I had known him long enough to know he wasn't the kind of person who would own up to his actions. He would hide behind his work persona, pretending nothing had happened. I filed for divorce a few weeks later. I knew I couldn't stay in a marriage where the trust had been completely shattered. I didn't want to. Megan begged me to reconsider. She apologized over and over again, promising to make things right. But the truth was, I didn't think I could ever forgive her. Not for this. The divorce was painful. It wasn't just the end of a marriage, it was the end of a life I thought I had. It took months to finalize everything, but when it was over, I was left with a sense of freedom, even though it hurt. Healing wasn't immediate. It took time. I spent a lot of time focusing on my kids, making sure they knew they were loved and supported. I started going to therapy to help process the anger and sadness. It wasn't easy. There were nights when I didn't think I could get through it. But I did. I began to rebuild my life, piece by piece. As for Megan and Michael, they're still together. I don't know if they're happy, and frankly, I don't care. I've learned that I can't control other people's choices. What matters is how I move forward. If you've made it this far, I appreciate you taking the time to listen to my story. Betrayal is something no one should have to experience, but if you do, remember, you are strong enough to rebuild. If you've gone through something similar, or if this story hit home, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Please comment below and share your experiences, and don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to hear more personal stories. Thanks for watching, and remember, healing is possible.